Hey guys, welcome back to Fandom Sage Powers, where we discuss comics, heroes, villains, and the Dawn. We have reached X-Force number 7, and we're dealing in right now. It's happened again. He was an ally, a businessman from a treaty nation who helped with negotiations and invested heavily in X-Corp. The sniper's aim was frankly impossible. Not only was the rifle stationed nearly a mile away, but the boat was traveling at 30 knots while bouncing off chop. A crosswind was gusting, and the sun was reflecting off the water. To say it was a lucky shot is a defiance of the impossible geometry and physics that made it possible. And again, this time the target was a prominent journalist who has published several pro-mutant editorials. The bullet came from across the street, traveled through a window, through the delivery man, through a pineapple and bacon deep dish, and through the heart of the target. It was another lucky shot, made even luckier by the jackhammer biting the pavement outside. No one noticed the gunshot or the broken glass or the thud of the fallen bodies until long after the assassin fled. And again, how could the assassin have known that the wind would gust just then and rip a balloon from a boy's hand, or that he would get chased, and that the SUV would stop precisely there, or that the politician who loudly advocated for the treaty would be sitting directly over the manhole? It's a roll of the dice hit that resists all logic, except the calculus of luck. Thanks for doing all this homework for me, Sage. You said you wanted me to monitor the global stage for odds-defying crimes. Why? Ever since I escaped that flesh factory in Korea, something's been off. See these dice? Any other time in my life, I could roll a 7 or a boxcar with every toss. But these days, it's nothing but snake eyes. I've lost my luck. I knew it had to have gone somewhere. I paid Forge a visit in the armory, and I must say he can be, like Logan, rather impossible. There's a certain locker room bravado about him I find perplexing, like a language I only half understand. For instance, he refused to shake my hand but instead dragged me into what he called a bro hug. Then he challenged me to a feat of strength, asking if I would test out this sappy muck bomb he had developed, or so I gather, glues one in place. He wondered if a big boy, like me, might be able to thrash free of the binding. I refused him and said I would very much prefer to get down to business. He then referred to me as a bookish peckerwood, but did so with a friendly laugh and clapped me on the shoulder hard enough to make me stagger. I'm not sure how to process this, honestly. Is he being friendly or cruel? Is it possible to be both? But the man can build. I will give him that, and I wanted him to build me something. I asked him if he had ever heard of ringing rocks, sonorous stones that chime like bells when struck. These are a form of diabase in Felsenmere. I wondered if the opposite could be true, if they could be made absorbent as well, so that they might sing back to me. And what would you want them to sing about? He asked. And I said, whatever they might hear. As a counter in a kitchen, as a vase in an office, as the tile work in a bathroom. I would very much like to know what people are saying about us, if you catch my meaning. Oh, I do, he said, and his mustache bristled with a smile. Let's make the world sing then. He was going to work on the development of a singing stone, and he thought he might experiment as well with some mosses whose porousness could prove effective at absorbing sound. So, the first step has been taken, and the second step shall be working our spyware unnoticed into the White House, Roxxon, Stark Unlimited, and Avengers Mountain, among others. They cut me deep. And even though I'm here in the sanctuary of Krakoa, a slice of me feels like I'm still there in the lab. as if they've claimed me, as if I belong to them, whoever they are. More nights than not, I end up waking to go for a hard run. If I exhaust myself, if I sweat out the poisons and put miles between me and my pillow, then I empty myself of dreams. Sometimes, it feels like everyone on this island has forgotten the past. So much history and so much planning have come together to make Krakoa possible. It's easy to see we're living in the most important time ever. That we're in the process of making a truly unique mark on history. Like a footprint stamped into thousands of grains of sand. Resurrection has made it possible to choose a future self that's unburdened by the past. A scarless existence. But sometimes, we only remember and appreciate our history if it comes with a scar. I'm glad for my scars.
Can't sleep either?
I heard about what happened to you.
I heard about what happened to you too.
I would tell you that you're safe here. That you don't need to shield yourself like this. But you understand, don't you?
Yes. I understand.
And I'm glad you're all right, Pete, given what you survived.
If that were true for either of us, then I'm not sure we'd be talking at 2 a.m.
You're probably right.
Everyone keeps telling me it was worth it.
For Krakoa.
For Krakoa. When people say that, when they say I did what needed to be done, for Krakoa, they're acting like everything that happened in Russia is in the past. But it doesn't feel over. It feels like it's still happening. The memory feels like it will never die.
I like to take a good ramble now and then to clear my thoughts and to study the island further. I might have been gone an hour, during which time I collected many fascinating samples of Krakoan insects and fungi and mosses and flowers. And upon my return to the point, I discovered something curious waiting for me. Perhaps it is a reach to say that it was waiting for me, but the way it was lying on the floor near my desk just so, I couldn't help but feel that someone wanted me to find it, and yet couldn't bring themselves to offer it directly. A scrap of paper, scorched at the edges. I myself prefer the tactile. I would choose a handwritten letter over a comm request any day, and I keep an extensive library at my home pod. But paper is something of a curiosity here on Krakoa, and certainly here at the point, since so much of our work is done digitally or through organic interface. I asked Sage about it, and she said she did not know. I asked if anyone had been by, and she said not to her knowledge. Now this was not merely paper, but the highest quality ivory cardstock, a thick quality weave that is almost the texture of cloth, decal-edged where it had not been burned. A writer's stationery. What was once written upon it, I cannot know, since only a single word remained. Litai Pisits. We've got another one. A priest in the Order of X, the new mutant-worshipping cult. The shot was fired from a moving motorcycle 2 blocks away from their church. So, what now, Domino? When you're gambling, when you're winning, sometimes it's because you're lucky. And sometimes, it's because you're smart. We've got to be smart. That means we need to look at the math. Math, I can do. And the math says our perp is hitting major mutant sympathizers in spotlight locations. He averages a hit a week, giving him time to travel and prepare. The locations are all strung together geographically, so there seems to be a gradual crawl taking place from east to west. So what's a high-profile venue on the western end of this geographic constellation for the top of next week? Tahoe, the Sierra Institute, the think tank and academic center located high in the mountains. The Summit of Intellectualism is its tagline. There's a conference taking place a few days from now that's centered around the new mutant paradigm. An evolutionary biologist who has long been a staunch defender of mutant rights. To her, mutant sovereignty is an inevitability that she predicted more than a decade ago in her controversial book. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll admit it's nice to receive such a warm reception, especially after years of being booed for my theories. But of course, I always understood the hostility. People were angry because they were afraid. And they were right to be afraid, as our current situation makes clear. Gun! Get down! Be afraid, but not of me. Looks like a lucky break. Time for hot cocoa, buddy. I'm going to borrow your board. That's right. I'm still here. I'm your snake eyes. I'm the bad luck you wish you could shake off. It's like 52 card pickup in here. But with a gamble, maybe I'll find the ace. What the hell do you think you're doing? Sorry. They say it takes 10,000 casts to catch a muskie. And they say it takes 10,000 pulls to win a jackpot, which means I'm due. I'm past due for some cherries and sevens. Come on now, Tahoe. Do me right. Can't go home with an empty purse. Mind if I give it a whirl? Suppose you might as well. I'm down to my last dollar, so got nothing to lose at this point. Oh my God! Oh. What can I say? Luck is on my side. All right, really interesting, cool issue. Really interesting. So I've always really liked Domino's character a lot, but I've realized over the years that I really don't know a lot about her on a personal level and what motivates her, how her powers really operate. I understand that her powers affect probability and that it's actually more of a form of telekinesis, a subconscious kind of thing. It's a passive ability, but she has to actively be moving towards a goal or actively evading something for it to trigger. I know that much. But apparently, whatever happened to her while she was being filleted in Korea and those mercenaries were taking her skin, it appears that more was done to her than she originally realized, because we see this woman that has the same coloring like Domino, but in reverse, like inverted, almost like Zazie Beetz from Deadpool 2, which is kind of funny. But her hair wasn't white like this chick. So I don't know if it's somebody has grafted the skin onto her, maybe. But her skin is so black, I don't know. It's weird. It's like she has stolen her mutation. Interesting turn of events here. Definitely not what I was expecting, but makes sense from what we've seen in past issues of X-Force with this group Xeno having taken her skin and used it to sneak onto the island. I hadn't even considered that somehow her skin or whatever else they took from her body could also allow them to access her luck powers, her probability altering powers. So, interesting. Tell me what you think about this issue and this new character that is still nameless. If you like this episode, please give me that thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Join the crew, and I'll see you in the next issue.